See? Get some coffee brewing. Bob and the boys will be here in a minute now. We have some particulars to go over. We do not have time for the normal chit-chat. No, ma'am, no time indeed. It's all business today. So much to say. So little time. Ain't that the killer of all men? Time? Well, you'll have to pardon my use on the art of language, as I did not have the promise of a good education like many folk in my youth. Rather, though, I do consider myself a unique type of breed. You see, I'm a man who always knew what he wanted, long before I even knew my way around a woman. And more importantly, I knew how to go about getting it. See, by the time all you were in finishing school, I was already a rough man. That's not bad being a farm boy and all. Now, I know what you're thinking. I know what you're thinking. And I'm just some cold-blooded killer. The fact is, I come further from the truth. Or may the good Lord strike me down! Oh, yeah, I almost got you there. See, every man, every writer, has their way of taking apart a story and twisting it the way they see fit. Just like them writers from the papers. Oh, one day I'm a hero, and the next, oh, I'm Lucifer in the flesh. But I reckon if I was to get up there and have pulpit and preach to you the way my daddy did, oh, you'd be able to swallow every word that I'm about to say. Don't drink, don't curse, don't covet thy neighbor's wife. I have news for you. It's all bull spin. Because it is enough to more crime. Laying down with a fair young woman who man ain't around to take care of her. Or they can be off plowing the fields and I'll plow with them. I'm sorry. I reckon you get your subtext there. Subtext. That's that word that all them fancy writers use to describe the deeper meaning of what they've been trying to say since page 2. Just say what you mean. Get to the point. Now, I've no patience for the educated. The way they talk and the way they walk like they hadn't visited privy in a week. Well, it's funny how Code 45 has a way of purging the polluted body. You see, in a lot of ways, I'm just like any other father. I want my boy to have all that's coming to him. This life wasn't always so easy. It took guts and the likes of me to get to this day. Now, I'm not saying that I agree with all the transgressions committed by my friend Billy Anderson. Scouting soldiers was a bit much for my liking. Even I have my limits on the usefulness of brutality. Papers called him part scoundrel. Maybe so. But if there ever was a man who lived his life with purpose, it was Bloody Bill. And any man who knows me knows that I only take life when absolutely necessary. That poor fellow in Gladma, he's just victim circumstance. He's just blaming Mom and Pa for making him look like a spitting image that same Cox. By damn, that family should thank me for making him famous. Even if it was almost for a moment. I thought I was going to be down to lieutenant colonel, not some bank teller. Oh, one good thing did come from that day. That was yours truly. Finally got his name in print. And I carried that article with me. It was sort of my rabbit's foot. In fact, it was that article that got me thinking. Maybe time had come to show all of you exactly what my purpose was. And not by shooting, not by stealing, but by writing. See, I read somewhere once that the pen is mightier than the sword. Now, obviously, only a pansy writer can think of that one. So here I am, Jesse James. No marauder, bank robber. Now, a lover of the written word. That being said, no, my pistols, however, I always kept on me. Anyhow, I dug down deep, and I found something in me that I didn't even know was possible. And that was the passion. Passion for words. Hell, I had no idea how exquisite my vocabulary was. And the words just spilled out of me like the blood of my brothers in the battle. Now, I didn't write it in that fairy tale brothers. I told the truth. That we, the ex-Confederates, we were the real victims of Missouri. Even that editor from the Kansas City Times saw my talents, and he understood the plight of the honest Southerner. And we will have our revenge on those spineless Unionists. Bastard cavalrymen, something right here, when I was barely 17. My hands reaching for the sky, and they got me down anyway like I was nothing more than a damn slave. Don't worry. I meant it just fine. I've been shot before. I'll even go say this. Anyone who has balls point his pistol at a man or child best know what it's like to have that hot ball of lead shred through their own flesh before they go squeezing the trigger. Taking a man's life is something that should be done with pride. And I always considered myself to be a liberator of man. And that was no more true than on the day I crossed paths with Major Andrew Johnston. It was back when I was riding Bloody Bill. One of them humid September days when we gunned down dozens of unsuspecting Union soldiers just riding that train home. Shit, they never saw it coming. There they were, thinking about the sweethearts and the mamas with our pie. Old Billy took them on a ride straight to their maker. I was in awe at how he came with that pistol. I swear he could have taken them all himself, and I even held back at first. And I just watched the artist who stood before me. That drink, his cannons, their blood, his pain. Lost the tranquility of it all. Until that ever familiar burn in my shoulder brought me back. Oh, it was on. And that naive soldier who dared break my serenity, oh, he unleashed the rage within me. My first bullet ripping his cheekbone, his young eyes filled with terror. So I figured this would be a good point where I softened the mood. See, I've been practicing this trick. Whereas I toss my pistol up in the air, get the attention of my aggressor. All the while, I slip the butt bat out of my boot, slash him across the ankle. Of course, I've only been practicing with melons at this point back home. I did believe that I found me a worthy and willing participant, but my abilities to the test. And even Bloody Bill gave me that look. You know that look Papa give his boy first time he does something right? That's the look that Bill gave me in the midst of that centrally bowed Unionist blood painted my face. Yeah. But I digress. I'm full of them fancy words, aren't I? I'm in the fight now. And we're dropping these ill-trained soldiers like it was their destiny to die in our hands. I'll have to confess. Them boys didn't stand a chance. Not with single-shot muzzle loaders. Anyone who knows anything about combat in close quarters knows how loud and smoky it gets in there. Between all the screaming and the ricochets, it makes it very difficult for even the best of us to concentrate. And what was left of them Union soldiers ended up retreating back into the woods. A couple of them got caught up on that railroad track and lost. I just didn't have the heart to shoot them as they struggled. so I'll spare you the gruesome details. Now, being the deep thinker that I am, I took a moment to appreciate the sun setting behind the hills. And that's when I saw him. A soldier. And there's one, he wasn't like the others. He was different. So I curiously followed this one as he staggered, stump step ahead, looking over his shoulder, wincing in pain. And when he fell to the ground, I could see that I had a Union officer within my sights. As I closed the gap between us, the sunlight revealed his gaping leg wound. So I holstered my pistol and I removed my hat out of respect for this Union officer. I couldn't help but notice that he had pistols. I like to think that he knew the man who loomed over him, and that his fear had outwon his heart. So I knelt down, close enough to where I could feel his breath upon mine. And after taking a moment to assess our situation, I pulled out a lump of the finest chili tobacco that I had gotten from a friend back in Kentucky. When that aroma hit me, as I held that, even though the shots and gunfire were close behind, for a moment, I was back in my farm. Plowing my fields in the warm summer rain. And just get to it, is what this officer said to me. And so I did. I placed that lump behind my lip with an immediate rush. And being the generous man that I am, I placed the lump behind the lip of my adversary. His grunts and moans of pleasure, and I swear we had ourselves a moment right then and there. Now, being a well-mannered Southerner, I introduced myself. Told me I burned in hell for smiting his boys. I just gazed in that commissioned officer's eyes. I didn't have to say that. He knew it had to be done. I could hear Billy calling out to me, so I told him I wouldn't pray. It's best we get on with this, because you ain't gonna like what's coming. His hand trembled as he reached inside his coat. My eyes followed my pistol, ready to be drawn. And out come his Derringer, my least favorite of all pistols, but them pansy-ass Union officers love him. Our eyes locked. I spit my wad, wiped my chin. That's when it happened. Hey! Billy called out to me as this officer's body slumped sideways. Being the sentimental man that I am, I take his Derringer from his lifeless hand and I tuck it in my boot. Billy was behind me now, and what he told me next, I'll take with me to the end. He told me, boy, you outdid yourself. You killed Major A.B.E. Johnston. Now, normally I would like taking credit for a kill of any mine. I just didn't have a heart like good old Billy down. So we'll keep that one between us. And if there's just one thing that I could change about my boy's namesake, it'd be that story they printed of me saying that I killed a boy during that hold-up in Liberty. Hell, I wasn't even there that miserable February day. Younger brothers need to own up to that one. Oh, they weren't the best of shots. And they were reckless. They were cheap help. Damn these idiots! My brother Frank, he was there. He saw exactly what happened. It doesn't matter. We all know what sells papers. Notorious bank robber, Jesse James. Murdered child in cold blood. And them false stories just kept coming, kept coming. They said Frank and I held up some banking firm back in Lexington. Never would I think that the newspapers would be more snake-like than good old me. Because I know who I am. And anyone who crosses me knows who I am. Or at least until I put them into the ground. I even tried to convince the boys that we should introduce ourselves to some of these reporters. Take a stand. They weren't having it. County ain't no money to have it, you know, the newsman. I may be a mad guy for all. But my principles were important to me, and damn it, the demeanor way they were treating me just had to stop. And just like any other smart businessman, I understood that me and the boys needed to change alongside with the times. The bank robbers were beginning to bore me. More than wealthy people were taking the train across the plains. So I figured it'd be a good time to take off for and catch the trains. In July 21st, 1873, was the day of new beginnings. And I do recommend any one of you that has their sights on the adventurous side of robbing, best do it on the train. Ain't got to worry about no sheriff, ain't got to worry about no wannabe hero. No, we're just a bunch of wealthy people, all too willing to give to my charity. And the friends' benefits are astonishing, as they wear the best gold jewelry. So if you're in the market for a diamond ring for your lady, or a pendant for your side boy, well, it's a train robbery buffet. I made a fortune off them high society socialites. You know how you know you reached started, don't you? They put on plays about you. Right now it's about you. Come think. Only market I haven't really broken into has been the songwriting one. I amaze myself sometimes. Well, I wake up in the morning and I raise my weary head. I got an old cup for a pillow and the earth was last night's bed. I don't know where I'm going, but I sure know where I've been. And I'm a devil on the run, I'm a six-gun lover, I'm candle in the wind. Ready? Shot down in a blaze of glory. Go help your mama down, son. I will be prepared for leading a purposeful life. Men do their honest best to be like me. I have achieved more than I ever thought possible. And my king will be better for it. Yeah. All that I've said has not meant bucket spin. And has not had my wife. My love. Zerella. A woman like no other could match. For her to put up with the likes of me was daunting. And my boy, I sense greatness within him. He has a pure heart, unlike my own. I've always had the ability to size up a man in the 10th of a second. Didn't matter what breed he was, colored, Cherokee. I knew just by looking into his eyes whether he had it or he was acting like he did. And this was no more true than in the case of Robert Ford. One of my biggest regrets was taking pity upon Bob. Some dogs are not meant to steer sheep and chase off a coyote. Some are just meant to be put out to pasture. Much like Bob himself. And in a further moment, I didn't see. I let him and his dim-witted brother Charlie into my circle. But even regrets have their purpose in history. Oh, would you look at that? Easy now, Bob. Squeeze. Don't jerk the trigger. You'll miss your target. Breathe. Just breathe. Shoot! Shoot before I take that pistol and shove it straight up your ass! It's just a